Welcome to the DePIN State presented by 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐻. I'm Nick Hawks, your host. On today's episode, we have Ranvir Rana, co-founder over at WitnessChain. This episode is sponsored by 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐻 and Associates, the most experienced DePIN consultancy in the space. We help projects develop strategy, messaging, and token incentives. We'll have a little bit more on us later in the show. Before we get started, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, smash the bell, all the things that help us keep bringing great guests like Ranvir to you. Ranvir, thanks so much for making time, man.
Yeah, pleasure for having us here, Nick.
I'm psyched to learn more about WitnessChain. Let's start a little bit with the background. What brought you into doing WitnessChain, and then we'll talk about what it is.
Definitely. So in my past life, I was doing PhD in solving the blockchain trilemma, right? And because of that, the economic value that blockchains bring, especially the coordination that blockchain brings, was very important. And that's something I understood to the core. And towards the end of my PhD, what we decided is that, hey, there's this whole area of DePINs, and they are all siloed, and they lack some coordination. And that's the reason we started WitnessChain. We started around 3 years ago. At the start, we were focusing on decentralized wireless, but eventually we expanded our system to cover everything within the DePIN space.
Okay, cool. So you came in as like a blockchain nerd, and you're seeing DePIN stuff as like, okay, this is something I can help with. That's a great segue. So what does WitnessChain, what do you guys do?
So what we're doing is we're building a coordination layer to unify DePIN economies. Now, what I mean is, the way we see DePINs right now is the way like tokens were before Bitcoin. Before Bitcoin, tokens existed, but in the form of airline miles or credit card points or things like that.
Okay.
But what the value that blockchains provided was the underlying trust. Anybody can trust that I have one token, I want to spend it. And people can build applications utilizing that trust and add value to one another. So that's, I think, the core to the economics of anything to do with Web3. And we want to build something similar. So the idea, the tech that enables this in blockchains is consensus. It's consensus on agreement that I have the token. You need that same consensus in DePINs, but because it's all physical infrastructure, you need to do that for physical state. So you need to achieve agreement on physical state. So when I say physical state, it means things like attributes like your location, your compute, storage, your connectivity, and so on. Validating these claims means that you have validated that that physical asset exists. And once that asset is validated, that enables coordination, just the way a validated token enables like coordination in the blockchain space. Now, this coordination fundamentally establishes trust within your DePIN itself, which means that it will ensure that the rewards are given out fairly. People don't game your system by creating fake servers and so on. But more than that, it enables any third party or any other DePIN to build on top of you in a permissionless manner, hence establishing this whole community that blockchains are so known for. Now, we established this utilizing our proof systems. So we have had research breakthroughs in these areas. Some of our proof systems are proof of location, proof of bandwidth, proof of correct diligence, which is correctness of compute, and so on. To give you a brief idea, let me just run through what proof of location is. Right? So
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So proof of location is essentially like proving the location of any connected device anywhere throughout the world by utilizing a global validator set. Right. So what you do is you essentially do triangulation, but you do triangulation in a BFT manner. We call it Byzantine fortified trigonometry. Right? And you learn internet manifolds and so on. And it's done in such a way that it's impossible to cheat. Like you can use a VPN, but we can detect that you're using VPN. So these kind of systems, in blockchains, there are these validator nodes that validate digital state. In our system, we have what we call watchtowers. And these watchtowers are basically, in our case, eigenlayer operators. These are the same nodes as Ethereum validators. They're distributed globally, and they run challengers for these protocols, and they validate these proofs.
Okay. So if I'm getting it right, then you guys are providing kind of almost security, maybe like proof as a service. This might be the way to think about it.
So we are, I wouldn't put it that way. What we're building is a coordination layer. So one thing I would like to add here is like,
you got to make it so the non-nerds can understand. I'm not tracking on this coordination layer.
okay. So, coordination can be in various axes. What we found is, a great property of these proof or consensus on physical state is they can all coordinate with one another. So I'd like to draw, if you think in blockchains, you pick a religion, like, oh, I'm into proof of work, I like Bitcoin, or I'm into proof of stake, and I don't like some other proof system.
Sure, yeah.
In physical consensus, things don't exist this way. It's so what we've seen is different DePINs have their own specialized physical attributes. So if you are let's say an energy DePIN, you need your attribute can be energy, like whether this system has an energy capacity. If you're a GPU system, you need like, hey, whether this GPU has this amount of compute capacity, and so on. So these proofs can be deployed within our system. So we work with our partners who build their proofs and deploy that utilizing our Watchtower network. And in doing so, they get all the benefits that are tied to the crypto economic security that the Watchtower brings. They get all the benefits tied to other DePINs or other applications built on top of us that can utilize these systems. So before I go there, like, it might be useful to understand what I mean by applications, right? So a few examples of this can be, just in case of blockchains, people build out things like Uniswap, which are equivalent to like stock exchanges. For if you consider a token as a stock, a similar equivalent of a commodities exchange, where we consider bandwidth, compute, these kind of commodities, does not exist. Or there might exist examples where they have created it for a particular DePIN. But with this platform, since you have those assets validated, any value flowing through those assets validated, you can building these kind of exchanges will be as simple as deploying a smart contract. So think of something like a bandwidth futures exchange. That's something a smart contract team can just go and deploy, and now boom, that's deployed across all DePINs on our platform can utilize that. And what enables this essentially is this trust layer. So it's a trust layer, and yeah, proof is part of the trust layer. But it's also a platform where they can work. Different DePINs can work together, but they can also work together with smart contract developers.
All right, so I've got some questions about Watchtowers and different DePINs. Let's take a quick break, and we'll talk about today's sponsor, Goldhawks and Associates. We're a DePIN consultant firm helping projects with strategy, messaging, and token incentives. We run a blog for founders over at goldandhawks.com. Produce this show, and most importantly, work with the core teams and communities of your favorite projects in the space to ensure tokenomics and incentives are fully aligned to build out some of the most badass physical infrastructure networks in the world. If your project needs help with any of these, check out goldandhawks.com. Okay, so walk me through, Ranvir, let's do the Watchtower stuff. Do you need to build out different Watchtowers for different projects, or is it the same, thing for every project, whether it's Helium or Hivemapper or Ator or Threefold or Onaclair, like whatever it is? Do you build different ones for each project, or kind of one size fits all?
That's a great question. So we call ourselves shared security. What that means is all of these systems will run on the same Watchtower network. And because they run on the same Watchtower network, they can get the same crypto economic security out of it. So to give you a bit of context here, we are deployed as an EigenLayer AVS. In fact, we are the launch partner in the top AVS on EigenLayer. Okay. What this means is our Watchtowers are backed by very heavy crypto economic security. So we have currently $8 billion worth of restaked ETH in crypto economic security, which all partner DePINs can utilize to secure themselves and secure any applications on top.
And then, so your clients are DePINs. You'd go to Ariel at Hivemapper or Abaya at Helium Foundation or whoever and say, hey, we can offer this. It's probably prying a little bit into the business, but like what costs would this add to a DePIN? So founders are watching this and you're like, oh, I might check that out. What should they kind of expect?
Definitely.
pay
So
and do?
we enable something called dual staking. So what this means is now DePINs can utilize their own token to secure the system, and a share of whatever their staking rewards are goes into this system. The value this brings in is now that your assets are validated, you can be rest assured that your rewards are getting distributed fairly. It's a very big advantage to your community. Prevents gaming. It offloads you from the task of blacklisting nodes, which is typically looked down upon in this ecosystem.
Oh, interesting. And then how do you prove that you're doing the job that you say you're doing, right? Like, it sounds super fancy, pretty clearly you're wicked smart. But how do I know as a project that I can trust Witness Chain?
Definitely. So this is, as I mentioned, the system is not run by us. It's run by our Watchtower network. It's fully decentralized. It's as decentralized as the Ethereum validator network, and backed by a similar level of crypto economic guarantee. As far as the core protocols are concerned, they are all research papers were published in well-known conferences and journals. So the core protocol itself is secure, and we can prove it to be resistant against any adversarial attacks. So it's the same security model that core blockchains have for their tokens.
Okay. Super cool. Now, is there a way for normal folks to participate? Can I run like a little Watchtower in my server closet here? Or is that more like, no, Nick, don't touch this thing?
That's a great question. So our proofs, the proofs that we've deployed is proof of location and bandwidth, are very lightweight. Proof of location just involves doing in some sense, a ping, and bandwidth involves sending some packets. Now, this is something you can run within a phone itself. So not only can you run this on your computer, heads up, we will be launching an app through which you can run the Watchtower client and participate in this whole economy.
Got it. And then why would someone want to run the app other than that they're interested in the tech? Is there some kind of, do you take some of the tokens that you guys are earning from the project and say like, hey, if you run a Watchtower app, you get whatever, 17% or whatever it is of our tokens or those tokens?
Just to give an overview, we are not, we haven't launched any token yet. All of these interest that is generated is before, we're without any points, without any tokens, anything like that. But yes, see, broadly, to answer your question, this whole system of validation generates value. This value, you can think of this value in a similar way. Validating Ethereum or Bitcoin or Solana generates value, which is you provide core security and you enable transactions on top. This value trickles down to whoever is validating the system, and that's the value that will be captured by anyone utilizing it.
Okay. And then is there kind of a minimum or maximum number of clients that you guys need? Do you need, 7 DePIN projects in order to provide like a decent cost to everybody? And does it max out like, hey, we can't take any more than 20? What does that look like?
Oh, no, we can provide security to as many DePIN projects as
okay. So there's
very, so I mean, my whole research life has been in building scalable systems.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's capable of any number of DePINs so far. In fact, we have around 20 DePIN partners who will be utilizing our shared security, and multiple DePIN partners who will be actually deploying their system using our scalable Watchtower.
Okay. Super cool. And where can people go to find out more about this and check out when you guys are going to launch your app and catch up on the news?
Definitely. Please we have a website, witnesschain.com, to catch up with our very recent updates. Please go to Twitter @witnesschain.
Okay. Witnesschain.com and Twitter. I'll put the links down in the description. Ranvir, thanks so much. I know you guys are, as founders, you're always super busy. Thanks so much for making the time today.
Yeah, it was a pleasure being here. Thanks, Nick.